Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things, the ultimate man cave store. That's what Games and Things really is. Whether you're setting up a game room, a card room, an in-home bar, home theater, or maybe a mix of all of those, Games and Things has exactly what you need to build the perfect home entertainment zone. OurGameRoom.com is where you can learn more, or you can go see their big, beautiful showroom right at the corner there of Lovell Road and Kingston Pike in West Knoxville. Games and Things, for more than 40 years, they've been doing it and doing it right. All right, Vince, you'll be joining John Wilkerson, as I just mentioned in that last segment. You'll be, once we allow you to be free, we'll take the collar off and you can go. But let me ask you this. UT got off to a 30-1 start, just setting records left and right, hitting, pitching, this many games in a row in the SEC, this many games in a row, school record, et cetera, et cetera. Everything's great. Then they play the midweek game with the wooden bats, and the bats go silent. Lose the second game in a row against Alabama on Friday night. Now you've got one of your starters who's going to be out for a while. Tony Vitello is going to be out for a while. That all sounds very bad. But I ask you, we're not talking late in the season. We're talking middle of the season here. Is it possible it could actually be good for this team to face some adversity as opposed to the still waters they were enjoying earlier this year?
Well, typically I would say no. Like, I'm not a big, like, you know, you got to lose some games and get, but you can still learn and get better by winning games. It's not like they were undefeated. So they had tasted defeat before. But Tony Vitello is big on these in-game experiences. That's how he's continued to keep them motivated. And with this personality, I think of this team, they are wired differently. Like, these things will motivate them even more. And so I do think that they will now have more guys taking even greater responsibility and elevating their game because, you know, just like with losing two coaches last night, you had Richard Jackson, who is a new assistant coach, a former pitcher at Tennessee. He's elevated. He had to call pitches last night. Josh Elander had to run the team and do all the post-game and everything. So everyone's role and responsibility now is enhanced. I think that will only help them. In terms of Chase Dolander, they have Blake Tidwell, who is waiting in the wings. And I think with Chase Burns having another tough Friday outing, and he wasn't bad, but he didn't have as deep of outing, give it the most runs he has all year. And the way Blake Tidwell is mowing guys down, I think you could very well see him back in the rotation. And now you even add to that depth even more. So I think the way this team is put together, I do think they can get over this tough stretch.
I'm a different guy than you. I've lived through one of these teams that almost made it undefeated and then didn't, and I wish like hell they'd had a loss or two or some adversity in the middle of the season. I'm a believer in getting some of that stuff out of the way, suffering a little bit mid-season, not late. You don't want to see a new nosedive late.
Right.
But I think it's good to go through some of this stuff. You guys, your thoughts? Would you prefer? I mean, nobody wants to lose a manager or lose a pitcher, but at the same time, do you believe in sometimes it's good to go through this stuff, or are you more, smooth sailing? I prefer the smooth sailing road.
No, I think some adversity is beneficial. And there's also the Missouri transfer, right? Halverson?
Yeah.
Who can also be added to the group. Here's the other thing, too. So Tennessee's lost 3 games, right? Last year, Mississippi State won the College World Series, and they were 50-18. They lost 18 games. It's not a sport where you're going to go 64-2. So, yeah, but the adversity, I think Tennessee can handle it. I think they have enough depth at the pitching staff. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it's good. One reason, too, John, it's tough to emotionally get up for all of these games, right? I mean, we see it in other sports. You see it even more, I think, in baseball with all of the games, the midweek game. Jordan Beck said that. He said at the Smokies Park, 8,000 people there. He said it wasn't the wooden bats, which you think it was, but we just had a lull.
That was in our post-game interview.
Yeah, just didn't have that spark. And then maybe it was the same way against the Friday night game, Alabama. John, I think it's good. It kind of resets the clock a little bit, and you start over.
David, where are you on this?
I think yes, because especially in college baseball, the price is nothing. As long as you're one of the top 8 seeds, it's all the same. So,
and you play so many games. It's
exactly.
not like college football.
Right.
Obviously, college football where a loss can take you out of the playoffs. You don't want losses.
Or
You want a
basketball, you
smooth-
get bumped down a couple seed lines.
Right.
Baseball, it's all about getting one of the top 8 seeds. If you're number 1 or you're number 8, it doesn't matter. Right now, Tennessee is a long way from the number 8 spot, so they can have a little bit more adversity. So, yeah, I would say yes, because I think the downside is negligible, if not nothing.
All right, I tell you what, I got another question for you. We saw it last night. This umpire has a history with Tennessee, with Tony Vitello. Tennessee has made, they enjoy playing the villain. Everyone makes a big thing out of it. They're proud of it. From fur coats on down, they like to celebrate and showboat and taunt and do the whole thing and come back and crawl to home plate, poke it with the finger, all that stuff. Is there a chance you run into an umpire later in the season who might burn you on some of that stuff?
I think you already have.
Okay. Let's discuss that next. Come on back on the Sports Source.